Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to share about our work today. My name is Christina Miller, and I am the Senior Manager of Partnerships with Cooking Matters. And I also oversee our SNAP-Ed work in Colorado as a local implementing agency. In 2019, Cooking Matters was awarded a grant from a private foundation to work with local WIC offices to modify the Cooking Matters at the Store curriculum and engage with community navigators to deliver an in-store educational opportunity for WIC recipients from refugee communities. The project was designed to support the increased redemption of WIC benefits. However, as a result of COVID, the project faced many delays and ultimately transformed with partner and community input, and of course, funder approval, to meet the changing needs and the current environment. The intention of supporting refugee communities to fully utilize their WIC benefits remained, while our method for connecting with community support shifted. While WIC was less involved than originally planned due to the pandemic demands, the local WIC clinic staff still strongly contributed to the project design and informed the content. They also provided important community connections to connect with community navigators. The community navigator role was increased from the original design in support of community listening and the co-creation process. The result was 5 co-created educational videos produced in Somali and Arabic that supported refugee families to understand and use their WIC benefits. With support from SNAP-Ed, we evaluated the effectiveness of the videos for the intended audience. And I am going to pass it to Lisa from Social Lens Research, who was our partner in this project, who will describe the work in more detail.
Thanks, Christina, and hi, everybody. It's a delight to be able to join you and tell you a little bit more about this project. So our team worked closely with Cooking Matters to design this community-based research approach that involved recent arrivals and the groups that help them to, as Christina said, increase the redemption of WIC allowable foods. We felt like it was important to start with the WIC teams and the refugee organizations to really understand the WIC redemption issues, what research methods would work best, and who could help us reach the participants. We knew from past work with Cooking Matters that co-creating really requires engaging with community navigators, iterating and testing prototypes with community input. So we started by conducting key informant interviews that uncovered some barriers to reaching recent arrivals, things like an unwillingness to be recorded, needing permission from husbands to participate, and wanting to conduct the research in people's homes. The International Rescue Committee in Denver introduced us to navigators who were already active and trusted within the community. These navigators were really critical in helping us engage with respondents. They helped us navigate troubleshooting, helped keep people engaged, and really gathered feedback orally to make sure we could capture the richness of those stories. The navigators also helped develop the video prototypes. We tested and refined those with a first group of participants and then evaluated those revised videos with a new group of respondents. Next slide, and I forgot to say next slide, and so I think we're one behind. So you can go ahead to the next one. I already talked to you about that. So yeah, for the first round, the community listening really helped inform the top information needs in the videos. People wanted practical tips on how to identify WIC allowable foods at the store, how to serve them so that their families, especially their kids, would be willing to eat them, and how to store the food safely. So it was also important to really explain the nutritional benefits of these WIC foods. One example is that we had to explain to people that lower fat milk wasn't just like watered down milk, but it actually had health benefits of its own. And then finally, most people were unfamiliar with shopping in US supermarkets. They were new to the US, and so they needed help understanding the different packaging, things like sizes and expiration dates. And so if it'll play, let's show that video. It's just a short clip. And if not, we can send you all the link. There we go. So we don't have sound, but it's basically a video that explains to people that they can buy milk, not just in gallons, but in different sizes of containers, and that won't negatively impact their benefits. And then the video also talks about the importance of storing milk in the refrigerator, not letting it sit out for more than 2 hours. And then it explains where to look for expiration dates and how to interpret those dates. So it's day and month and day. Next slide, please. So after creating those prototypes, we tested the revised videos. And so the community feedback at this point suggested that we add videos of kids eating WIC foods, recipe ideas, and then pictures, as you see here, of actual WIC allowable foods. I'll note that since these videos were created outside of SNAP Ed funding, we decided to show the specific brands to really help people find them in the store. Navigators did help us with this new content as well. They went shopping and took real pictures of the WIC foods. They also created culturally relevant recipes that use the foods. And you can show that video too. We may not have sound, but again, this is just showing people real pictures of the foods that people could buy. So these are actual brands and types of things. This was shot in a WIC, in a Navigator's home. So they actually went and bought it, and I love how they stage it with the candles. This were some recipes. So beans and rice with tortillas, bean soup with tortillas, and then breakfast wraps with egg, cheese, and spinach, and then like quesadilla type things. Just again, another way to show recipes that use the foods. Next slide, please. The videos were really well received. They offered a lot of new and useful information to participants, and they surprised people. Things like WIC alternatives, learning that people could use the WIC money to buy beans instead of peanut butter, that they could buy whole grain pasta or rice instead of sliced bread. People previously thought they had to add that to their benefits. People were not previously aware or had limited knowledge of the WIC Shopper app, and they love learning about features like being able to choose a different language and scanning barcodes to see if items are WIC approved. Most said, as you can see here, that the information in the videos would help them redeem more WIC foods. And a lot of people said that the videos should become part of the WIC information packet, saying things like everybody should watch these and learn. Next slide, and I'll pass it back to Christina.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for sharing those videos. They're sorry that they did not play with sound, but hopefully you were able to get a sense of some of the images that were provided by the navigators and the unique experience that we were able to have in a true co-creation project of these videos. The videos are available through the Cooking Matters YouTube channel, and Lisa just dropped the link into the chat, so you can feel free to enjoy those videos on your own time. And also, if they are supportive of your community, please feel free to share it broadly as well. They are intended to be a resource that can be used by anyone utilizing those WIC benefits. For us, it was an important highlight of collaboration between federal nutrition programs and working closely with WIC to support the community in this project. If you'll go to the next slide. Our contact information can be found here. You note that Social Lens Research has Julie's name listed, but Julie can pass things to Lisa or respond on behalf of Social Lens Research. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, everybody.
Hello, everyone. My name is Gina Christ, and I'm here with Kristen Hawk to talk a little bit about survey results that the program development team, which is a group of land-grant universities who work together to develop resources and exchange ideas around SNAP education programs. So we administered a survey about a year ago to learn more about online direct education, what was going on in the land-grant system related to online learning and SNAP education programs. And so a big shout out and special thank you to the team who's listed here on the slide. Next slide, please. And so one of the things we did as a team and kind of a learning that we all had together was to develop a better understanding of what we mean when we say online learning. We found that specifically kind of during the pandemic, we used the term online learning, online education a lot, but that we really didn't have kind of a consistent definition of that when we were talking to one another. So at the beginning of the survey, we used a definition listed here. I'm not going to read it right off the slide, but just to kind of level set people. And so that we kind of made sure that as people were answering the survey, they were really using a frame of reference that was consistent. So really thinking about delivering messaging, delivering education, using the internet for online for teaching and learning. It's not dependent on physical or virtual co-location. And it's really able to be delivered either asynchronous or synchronous. And so again, we were really trying to better understand how people were utilizing online platforms, both from a learning management system, but also things like Zoom and Facebook Live to deliver SNAP education programs across the land-grant university system. So Kristen's going to go into some of the survey results, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do with these survey results in the future. Next slide, please.
Yeah, thank you, Gina. So just to provide a little bit of context, so COVID-19 really just upended our entire lives, and we really had to, as SNAP educators, to reevaluate how we targeted our audiences. And so this survey really goes in depth into that. We just hoped to gather a list of online education programs throughout the country, and through this survey, which I'll share those results, just to understand how they delivered their curriculum, and then just a couple of different characteristics that go along with it. Okay, so next slide. So just to note first, there's a little QR code in the corner, and it'll be on a lot of the slides, but this will just go more in depth into what I'll be sharing. So we were able to have 34 states represented in this, totaling 176 programs, which is amazing. And just, I really thank you guys for participating if you did. And then we had 43 respondents. Okay, next slide. So we then looked at the stages of development within their program. So we had 17 that were in the pilot stage, 87 in implementation, and then 5 that I just highlighted there that were in the scaling phases, from Alabama, Oregon, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. So next slide. So we looked at adapted versus originally online, and just seeing how their program either adapted to COVID or if they developed a whole new curriculum. So we saw the majority of them were adapted, and then 8% were originally online. Okay, next slide. So delivery platforms. So we saw many of the programs utilized Teams, YouTube videos, Facebook, Zoom, WhatsApp, and then the one that we really targeted and highlighted were the learning management systems like Canvas. Okay, next slide. So 66% of them had a synchronous method to it. 58 had group direct ed. 61% utilized a hybrid component. And then typically the classes were 30 to 60 minutes long with 6 to 10 lessons. And then just as an added feature, 63% had videos incorporated into it. Okay, next slide. And then to look at the program outcomes. So the respondents were able to select all that applied to their program. So we looked at the average number of lessons completed by participants, time spent on the lessons, knowledge and behavior change, and then intention to change. So we saw that the majority of them were focused on their program outcome being knowledge and behavior change. Okay, next slide. So just one program that we wanted to highlight was the Create Better Health online program, which is where I am from. So I'm with Create Better Health. And so we started developing a program online with the use of Canvas. So post-COVID, we really had to push towards getting that pushed out to reach more of our target audience. So later on today, I think it's one of the last presentations we'll hear from Cami Bullock and Kelsey Hall She did research on the comparison of online education to the in-person classes in Utah, and she really found that a lot of the same, it yielded like the same results with the behavior change, which is really good to hear and just shows that online education is a great next step and a great option to give to your participants. Okay, next slide. And then I'll turn it back over to Gina to finish us.
And so what does this tell us, right? So we do these surveys, and then what are we going to do with the information? So one of the things that as a team, we really wanted to better understand, like I mentioned at the beginning, is, what are people using as it relates to kind of the definition of online learning and the platforms that they associate with online learning. And as Christy mentioned, we did see a lot of people who were using Zoom and Facebook Live and a variety of different technological tools to deliver what was originally in-person programming. So they were really trying to adapt to COVID-19 and have since potentially kept kind of that going where necessary. And so we really want to dive a little bit deeper into what's still currently going on and where there are interests in building a better understanding and a better research portfolio around the outcomes related to online learning. So we all recognize, and I think one of the pros of the pandemic is that that the utilization of online platforms gave us the opportunity to address some of these barriers. People that are too busy, people lack transportation, they don't have childcare, the things that we hear on a regular basis in our education system. So what we plan to do is potentially pull together a group that consists of those individuals who are in that scaling phase and really utilizing online learning management systems to better understand what successes they're having with their online learning, and also kind of looking at a group, bringing together people into the group that are potentially using Facebook Live or other kind of technological advances, and see where we could maybe pull out some best practices that could be utilized in the future as we develop online learning moving forward. So hopefully we'll at some point be back with different data around some successes on that as well. Next slide. I think that's our last one. Yeah. So thank you very much.